Hey everybody, Tony D with a hot take. And I told you, yes, it's another I told you. On Antifa, I told you, Antifa, you're going to jail. And it's starting to happen. It's happening. Ted Cruz tweeted, the Fed should focus on LARPing middle-class SJWs and the dedicated Marxist cadre and use RICO conspiracy and other federal charges to take them out and lock them up. When Ashley from the suburbs realized that she's looking at 5 years in federal prison instead of heading back to Evergreen State to finish her Bolivian 13th century trans dance degree, the lawyer daddy buys her will get her to sing like a canary about her commie pals. Pretty much exactly what I said. These guys aren't hardened criminals. Not these girls. No way these girls. They're totally caught up in the trend. 100%. 100%. Maybe there's two actual, dedicated communists in that mix. The rest are all like, the Antifa guys are so hot. It's so hot being in social justice. Oh, it's so great. Oh, I'm so virtuous, aren't you? Yeah, that's what it's all about. Rand Paul's getting into the act ever since him and his wife got assaulted coming out of the RNC. He's saying, trace the money. RICO and trace the money are the exact two things that the FBI does. They go after the money. They go after the organization. I told you this would happen. They're going to do this. And now they have a reason to. And a lot of people are saying, oh, Rand Paul, that's not very libertarian. He's not a libertarian, by the way. He's a Republican with libertarian tendencies. But the thing of it is, Tim Pool and other reporters have seen these people get on planes and go from riot to riot. They go from city to city. Tim calls them the tourist. These are known. They've got witnesses. That's evidence. That's evidence enough to investigate it. That is not harassing people. When you have evidence, you have a crime, and you have evidence that, well, maybe these people are going from city to city to do this. That's a federal crime, number one, because you're crossing state lines. It might even be an international crime if they're coming from Europe. And number two, you have the witnesses that can corroborate, yeah, this is happening. So then it's about finding who's on these planes. Now, they're not that stupid. They're not going to show up on the plane in their hoodies and the black bloc outfit. It's in their bag. They look like regular people, but they're going from riot to riot. Now, I don't know if they'd be actual tourists. Maybe a handful of the really rich ones are, but I think a lot of them are just, as Tim says, it's not a lot of money to travel around the country, even now. Especially if you're a college kid and you got access to your parents' money. It's not that much money. And it's pretty easy to, if you've got parents to, that flip the bill for you and don't totally pay attention, you just give them a story. Oh, yeah, we're going to Seattle to see so-and-so, and we're going to hang out and blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, have a good time. Done. It's done. But let's go through what RICO's all about. And again, this is something I looked into when I wrote my book, Complete Mafia for D20. And what I had to do, because it was a role-playing game and not a book per se, not like one of these regular Mafia books, is I had to break down the basics and translate them into game mechanics. So you need sort of a working understanding of it. But RICO is kind of complicated. Here is the summary from Wikipedia, which I don't recommend as a source normally, but for something like RICO, it's probably fine. Under RICO, a person has committed at least 2 acts of racketeering activity drawn from at least 35 crimes, 27 federal crimes, and 6 or 8 state crimes. So, these people have intimidated businesses and done damage to them and demanded things from them. That's exactly what the mafia does. It's exactly what they do. these people who hang in signs saying, please don't hurt us, single mother, don't smash the windows, please, this is all I have. What the mafia would do is they would send you a letter with, and all it would have would be maybe a black dagger on it or a bomb, and that was from the Black Hand. This is really old school mafia. And you would have to pay them, or they'd throw a stick of dynamite through your front door or through your window, or they'd start smashing things up, or they might break your legs. It was intimidation. Now, just because Antifa's eventual goal isn't money doesn't matter. They're still committing crimes. They're also coordinating across state lines, and they're coordinating with groups of people. So if you have an organization, even a small organization, even a cell as small as 4 or 5 people, you're still under RICO. And don't kid yourself. These guys aren't just the cells. The cells are loosely organized. That's why they're ineffective for the most part. That's why they need these mobs and mobs of people. But, there's always people that rise up. Always. Because for a while, the chaos will be really ineffective. And then out of the chaos will come people who will slowly start to give more and more instructions. And people will naturally gravitate towards them because they become the leaders. And look at some of the people they've taken down. Now, Hell's Angels, they went after. That was ineffective, but it was more effective against the Latin Kings. They went after the Key West, Florida Police Department. They went after Michael Milken, famous junk bond guy. Major League Baseball, the Los Angeles Police Department, and places like the Gambino crime family and the Lucchese. So it doesn't matter. FIFA they went after. This can be applied to any organization. It doesn't have to be gangsters. You don't have to be selling drugs. You just have to be committing these crimes and coordinating it. And they are coordinating. There's no doubt about that. They've got way too much influence. And these arrogant a-holes who post on Facebook and constantly videotape themselves are going to get caught. And they're going to catch some of these low-level government employees that have been helping them. I think Portland, maybe that entire local government might get rolled up into an investigation, Wheeler included. He is a dummy. He is a dumb a-hole. And I think he's probably got some mistake in there that they're going to find. And he has close ties with guys who are very sympathetic to Antifa. I believe one of his prosecutors is good friends with one of the Antifa leaders. They're going to get him. They're absolutely going to get him. The FBI will hound those guys day and night until they do. That's what they do. Unless the only way to stop these guys, the only way to stop the FBI would be to completely sever ties. Right? So if that prosecutor completely severs ties with his friend, never contacts him ever again, maybe. But what will invariably happen is the guy who's the prosecutor, he's fine. He has a job. It's the Antifa guy who will eventually need help. He'll get desperate enough to call him or email him or contact him in some way. And a prosecuting guy, if he's being watched, or the Antifa guy's being watched, oh man. And they think they're safe with this encryption stuff on the phone apps. But let me tell you something. You're not. You are not safe. The FBI's all up in that business. If they don't have a back door, they invented it. I'll say that again. If they don't have a back door to that encryption, I promise you, it's their app. Because that's exactly what these organizations would do. They'd create the app. Well, we can't change the law to allow people to encrypt. But if we make the app, then we have the back door. Put it out there, make it free. CIA's done a hell of a lot less over the years and a hell of a lot more. So, if you don't think the FBI is capable of that, you're not thinking. You're not thinking. These idiots film themselves every second of every day. There's cameras everywhere. It's a major city. There's no way these people can hide. And they're not even attempting to hide, a lot of them. So they're going to get caught. And some of those people caught will be like, this is the wrong article. Where is it? Will be like Ashley here. What's her name? No, Clara. Clara here, who's 20. Let's see if we can watch the video. I don't think there's any sound. There they are, smashing windows. She was arrested, 20 among 8, for causing $100K. Crap. I knew that was going to happen. $100K worth of damage to businesses during a rampage, BLM rampage in NYC. Oh, she's so cute and wonderful. Yeah, except when you talk to her about critical race theory, and then apparently she becomes a raving lunatic with a hammer, I guess, if this is proven. Now, this is all alleged. Maybe it's not her. But she's been arrested. And the funniest thing, and everybody's covering this. Tim Pool covered it. Jeremy from The Quartering covered it. So I have to cover it too. But she's been slammed for hypocrisy after news broke of her wealthy upbringing and her decision to take part in damaging city businesses amid a global pandemic. Yeah, no kidding. Her mother runs a Manhattan architect firm that designs spaces for city universities. And her father's an Upper East Side child and adolescent psychiatrist. Good job. Wow. Really raised your kid right there. She's running around smashing things, apparently. The family reportedly purchased a $1.8 million apartment in the city in 2016. Has a second home in Litchfield County, Connecticut. Kraber, who is currently a student at Rice University in Texas, is now facing first-degree riot charge and could face up to 4 years in prison. Good. When reached by the Post for comment, this is the Sun, the U.S. Sun, the college student said she wasn't interested in speaking about the charges. No, not right now. I don't want to talk about it, she reportedly said. Oh, really? I thought you wanted to talk about race and all these things. Oh, you don't want to talk about what you did? I thought you were proud of it. I thought you were proud of what you've done. I mean, you think you would be. During the Friday night demonstrations, the group reportedly lit trash cans on fire and scrawled graffiti with messages such as abolition onto property. Video shows protesters carrying signs with messages as death to America and free all prisoners. Yeah, you wouldn't last 10 seconds. Look at this girl. Would she last 10 seconds if they freed all the prisoners? Oh my God. I mean, this is this is unbelievable. Talk about your white privilege, yeah. I mean, of the 8 arrested Friday, all were charged with rioting and some are facing additional weapons and burglary charges, according to Daily Mail. Well, you want a deal, sweetie? You better take it. It's the first come, first serve. That's the way the cops operate. Daddy and mommy will buy you a nice lawyer, but, you know, it's going to cost them money. Yeah, you really made a great investment in that degree. I told you this would happen. She will give up all her comrades. All of them. Everyone she knows. Because she's going to be petrified once the cops sweat her. And guess what? She's 20. Can't nobody help her. Yeah, I mean, you know, she can sit there with a lawyer, but they'll get to interrogate her. And she'll fall to pieces. Guaranteed. She'll be dragged in again and again and again. And so will the other 8. And one of the other 8 might cut a deal first. Knowing what the parents could do, knowing what her parents could do, oh, if you're one of the other 8, cut a deal. Cut a deal first. That's my advice. Because she's got every reason to throw you under the bus, in my view. And that's exactly what her lawyer will say. Oh, it's just youthful exuberance, blah, blah, blah. Uh-huh. All right. I mean, this is what people's children are doing. This is a nice young woman, apparently, but they all of them turn into this. This is why this needs to stop. So if you're a parent, you got a kid in school. You're a grandparent, you got a kid, kid in school. You better be on the lookout for hoodies, for Marxism, and all this BS, and cut them off of money. Fine them, and get them out of this, because they're going. I'm telling you, they're going to end up in jail. They're going to end up in federal prison. They're going to end up RICO. They don't even have to be there. Okay? Do you understand? These idiots are starting to kill people. When somebody commits a murder and they're in that Antifa cell, if she did anything for the murderer on the day the murder happens, she just drove him somewhere or helped hide him from the cops or, God forbid, hid the gun or threw it away. That's accessory after the fact. Oh, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. I'm not a lawyer, but I know a few things. I know that RICO's bad. I know the FBI is all over this. And do you think this kid could stand up to an interrogation? Do you think she's smart enough that she encrypted every single email, every single post on Facebook, every single thing she did for Antifa and BLM? No way. No way. If anything, like most of these guys, they slowly get wound up in it. And while they're getting wound up, they're not doing any of that stuff. They're not expecting to commit any crimes. Their politics is out in the open for all to see. It's only after they start committing crimes they start to think, oh, wait, maybe I ought to hide this stuff. But by then it's too late. You spend 2 years railing against Trump and doing BLM stuff, and then you slowly tick up. You're not going to hide. The thing about the mafia, the reason that they're so tough to get, is they're disciplined criminals, for the most part. I mean, they're not an army, but they have a bit of discipline about them. So do all organized crime families. You have to stay out of jail. These kids can't do that. They haven't thought that through. She's 20. They don't even let people in the mafia that young. That's too young. It's too young to be made. They'll never make a made guy in his 20s. They have to be desperate for guys to make a guy in his 20s. Unless he's amazingly capable. Like an amazingly capable guy, yeah, maybe. But that's rare. They're going to pick a guy. He's already got a criminal record. He's already been in and out of jail like 2 or 3 times. He's proven he's not going to go to the cops. He's an earner. They don't have that kind of vetting process in Antifa and BLM. Basically, anybody who has the politics, you're in. You're in. Now some of these guys are starting to put up barriers. There's a guy who's undercover, and I forget who he works for. I think he's a journalist though, and he's been undercover for a while, and he's slowly moving up in the ranks. But I promise you, the FBI has guys all up and down the West Coast in this mess. They do. They infiltrated the peace movement all the time. Now, they were ineffective in the peace movement because you always knew the FBI guy, because he'd be the first guy that says, hey, let's burn this place down. And everybody would be like, what? What are you, crazy? We're peace activists. But in Antifa, he didn't even have to do that. Hey, guys, what are you doing tonight? Says the FBI guy with his listening device. Oh, we're thinking about, do we burn down the police station or do we go into the suburbs and wake everybody up? Yeah. So you get her confessing. You got undercover FBI guys. You got, now they wouldn't send her back, obviously with a wire. She's too public. But I promise you, there are guys they already got on multiple charges. They're facing 20 years in prison, and they have no choice but to be a CI for the FBI. And they're in there right now collecting evidence on you idiots. And they probably can't collect enough. They probably got so much evidence to sift through. It's ridiculous. This isn't about can we arrest these people. It's let's make sure we got all our ducks in a row. That's what they're doing. They're aiming for the top guys. The only thing is, it's a little harder to find them because they're so, crazy and disparate. And the FBI will sweep them up in big, giant chunks. Kind of what they do is they'll monitor an organization, and what they want to do is arrest groups of people, but do it in such a way that the organization doesn't realize they're being listened to, right? So if you just roll in and nab, say, 200, 300 people, and the only thing connecting them all is the phone app, well, then everybody's going to know, oh man, our phone app's compromised. So what they do is they try to wait for a moment. So for instance, say at a riot, right? And they'll scoop everybody up during the riot. And then that way, people don't know. Oh, I guess I must be under arrest for the riot. See, these guys aren't stupid, but people in Antifa and BLM are. And they're all going to jail.